Connection seems good. There we go. My apologies, everybody. I bet you missed me with my 1 minute absence, huh? Stream ended. No, gosh. I'm still here, Shopao.
Oh. You just had to restart OBS.
Oh, yes. It was very laggy prior.
Counted as the stream ending.
Yeah, it should be solved by now, chat. I had a bit of a hiccup that I had to resolve. Gosh, there's so many people joining. I'm gonna go back. Output. I'm not gonna mess with any of these anymore. There, apply. Okay. Oh, I thought the lag was on your end. No, Shop Out, this is completely on mine. A bit of a hiccup, my apologies. Is it loading for y'all? It should be working, right? Try refreshing my stream. Yes, chat should be back at this point. It's just loading for me. Okay, hold on. Nilo, can you see me? Shopao, you may need to like refresh the page. Maybe that's the issue at hand. Oh yeah, how could I forget that? It was a stream express. Chat, the stream is still running. What are you talking about? Also, hi there, Rat. Giggle. Who else? See your pleasing face. 6K, huh? That's a funny number. Twitch stream is dead. Shopao, it's still working for a bunch of people. See, Memo can see it, Nilo can see it, and a bunch of others. I wonder. How's my day doing? It's okay. Vesper, can you do me a favor and... No, never mind. You might lag out.
Oh.
It's good. Well, how about we wait for things to settle and then we can continue. Thank you, Jay. What if I go to 1080p? Does that affect anything? I doubt it would. Thanks. Where are you right now? Okay, so you guys are curious, huh? Hi there, Neon. Neon, can you do me a favor? Is my stream running properly? Okay, thank you. A lot of people were mentioning that it wasn't working as it should be, but look, it's working on you, so that's great. Everything is running good on my end. Okay. It can't be Paris this time. I gotta be Berlin because it's raining. Listen, chat. So yesterday we were at a very scenic cafe, right? And now we're in God knows where. We're okay, fine. Maybe we're Hong Kong. Maybe we're in Beijing. Who knows? But whatever sweet break we had the other day, we definitely do not have it anymore. Yeah. Is this even a good shot? I don't think so. Maybe if I zoom out a teeny tiny bit more. Just by the pins. There we go. I hate how I have to make things fit for TikTok. It's let's just stick with that. En- Enjoy the trash on the left. Establishing shot. Very chill, very demure. Careful, Vesp, you might fall. I don't think she's gonna fall. Yes, impeccable balance. At least when it comes to like sitting by the railing.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, I will gladly add you. Don't worry, okay? I'm gonna gladly add you to the people that are suspended on my stream. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave it to Vesper.
Um, There's your answer.
There you go. Won't she fall? Yeah, you have too little faith with my partner here. Gosh.
I've done a lot more risky things on a mission, no worries.
What Vesper
This is
said.
relatively safe in comparison.
You know, I think it needs to be manual. There we go. Perfect. Chat, don't spam. I think you should go inside. You might catch your cold, says Ivan. I'm okay. We're used to such conditions.
I'm good.
Trust me. Nothing new. Mystic says, I don't know how many times one has to say this. Also, hi, Mystic. I'm sorry for greeting most of the viewers late. It's because I was solving a bunch of hiccups that my stream's been presenting itself. I thought I've ironed all of them out. Apparently not. See, it's saying my encoder is overloaded by what, how, and why. Oh, God. There we go. So I'm gonna look at my task manager, see what processes is eating what. No. My GPU is only at 62%. Strange. I didn't have this last time. Unless. There. Process Lasso's doing its job. Yeah. There. How are you all doing? We're okay. You know, I gotta admit, I was a bit sleepy earlier. I was contemplating if I should stream at all or not. Besides, look at the crummy place we're at. It ain't exactly anything to write home about. Quite the opposite of wherever the heck we are yesterday. The Bright Cafe, the bread shops, the Lambretta, Hmm. It's rather gloomy here today in QC. Rainy weather and all. Nyla's asking, what are we talking about today? Cabbage, the weather. Whether you're a fox or not. Gebos, are you Filipino? Gebos, what headset are you using? Gebos, can I add you as a friend right as you're streaming? Do you need a PC to stream VR chat? I do believe it is quite the requirement if you want to achieve anything of this fidelity. I am not aware if the phone has enough resources. If you wish to stream VR chat or playing it at the same time.
Yeah, so unless your requesters are bullying your PC user friends into streaming for you, probably not.
Yeah. What's gonna happen? Let's try medium. See if that changes anything. It's rainy here in Bicol. I see. Sucks. There, Chan. Sorry. I know you wanted to see the goods. Please stay. If only my tail would cooperate with me. I freaked out at the Windows sound. My apologies. I'm trying to troubleshoot things as the live is going on. I'm not sure if my system is that stable yet. It's not just the quirks of trying out new places and settings. Each stream I do is pretty much a benchmark if things are gonna go smoothly or not. Avery says, I hope the rain is comfortable. Oh, don't worry, I'm not getting wet. Too much at least. What's with the smoke? So I take it you've never heard of vapor. So normally when you have nice warm hot breath in a rather cold environment, condensation occurs. Here we go with the people asking what headset I use. No stream is complete.
I mean, we could do it the cheeky way. He's using the same headset as I am, but you gotta do your own research.
There you have it, chat. Whatever Vesper's using is also what I'm using. It's color black. That's one of the hints I'm gonna give you. Nope. Encoder is still overloaded. But why? Let's try it one more time. There. Should be good. I'm not lying though, Shops. It is color black though. There was something I wanted to try. I completely forgot what it was. It was a different streaming application aside from OBS. Very relaxing. I'm glad you find it as so. Mystic says thunder. I can't remember the last time I heard thunder. Ah, yeah. I know. You know, this place is
Yeah, there's
nostalgic.
2 kinds of thunder in my life.
Okay, Vesper, what's the 2 kinds of thunder you have?
Thunder from the rain or thunder my brother's fat cat.
Ah, okay.
The 2 types of thunder in my life.
Right.
Sorry.
Shapo says, are Vesper's claw tips light? Lighter or the base of what?
Hmm?
Okay, looks like we're gonna have a guest. Oh, I forget I'm not the
Whenever
master.
Mr. Beboop's gonna
Yeah, how about you? Shoot him an
see
invite.
where Mr. Beboop decides to reside.
Alright. How about you check it out, Chopo? Here is the claws. There you have. Does that work?
Yeah, they're a little pinky. I'd paint them black, but I'm pretty sure they would just blend in with the rest of my hand.
I don't think black would suit
Not
you
to
now.
mention, kind of pointless considering with our missions, it's just gonna chip right off.
That's true. Not really a fan of a girl who paints her fingernails. I don't know. I always found it like disgusting when it's all chipped and everything. It's like a car whose paint is peeling off. Who would want that?
Yeah.
Then again, nail polish does suit certain looks and for certain applications and places, formal parties, and the like, and more.
And I just tend to wear a lot of black anyways, so.
The worst combination of nail polish I've ever seen is whenever they use a solid opaque color, black, deep reds, crimson, and then it's on nails that are shorter than the fingers themselves, probably chewed down by a nasty habit.
E.
Hi, Mecca. Looks like Mr. Beboop is joining us on stream. Hi. Yes, Mecca, we're live. Hello.
I just realized I
Got yourself caught
maybe
again.
you're exploring worlds. I thought I'd possibly.
Mm.
If you're in the middle of something, I can. skedaddle.
Yeah, it's okay. How about you? Come here and say hello to chat.
Okay. Hello there. Hi, chat.
Let me move this
I'll
pesky.
sit here for a few minutes.
There.
There you go.
You have a better idea of the setup we're at right now.
Hmm? What's happening? What's happening?
Not much. Sorry, TikTok, but Twitch takes priority here, so I'm not. I'm not gonna change the camera angle. Yes, but take a photo so you know what we're looking at. But yeah, one thing I've noticed is we've been getting pleasant surprises from Mecca with my now new renewed schedule of streaming in the morning. Always pleasant to see you, friend. What have you been
thank
doing?
It's a pleasure to catch you both.
Did you just wake up? Come from a dance session that Mystic told you not to do? Or
No,
not-
I haven't been dancing. No, not yet. But it's fine.
Not yet. Not yet.
She's gonna turn you into
Oh.
a metallic pretzel.
Oh no.
Nuts and bolts,
I'll make
Mecca.
sure to pace myself. You pace yourself. But
And yeah,
Not yet, says
don't
Mystic.
do any
Oh no.
don't do anything that would upset Mystic.
Mm.
You don't
I
take proper care
know.
of yourself, you know she's gonna chase you with a wrench.
Mystic does all of this because she cares. The Mystic I'm talking about, chat, is Mystical Aurora. Check out her TikTok and Twitch. Great friend of mine.
Yeah.
Funny enough, Mecca also streams to those that are unaware. Yes, the Australian Mechanical Nova Beast over here does have a Twitch channel, and he does lots of little, as you would call it, squiggles. It's art streams, chat. He's fantastic at it. Very charming.
No, you're breathtaking. Whoa.
Do you have a
Come on,
Twitch?
thunder out there?
Yes, it's raining. Really is. Sorry, TikTok. Due to the lack of horizontal real estate, I am unable to show you the proper shot where Mecha, myself, and Vesper are all in the same frame. So you have to live with
I can just
this instead.
hold on to the railing precariously, maybe?
You could move a teeny tiny bit to the left. Yep, just stick to where Vesper is. There we go. Just a bit more, like 6. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Just enough.
I have a desk in the way. But hello.
But how you both going?
Oh, we're okay. We were playing a bit of Monster Hunter Wilds earlier, and yeah, I said, you know what, it's getting a bit late-ish. Late for mine, and then I need to stream. And then I got hit by the heaviest bat of laziness, and I said, Vesper, I need some motivation to go live. You know what I mean? You just have those days where it's like you just want to melt into the chair or bed and do like hope something happens.
Maybe by some miracle I did.
Yes.
But also, how about chat? How is chat doing?
Chat, how are you? Oh, so Mystic says, I'm yanking his bolts. I'm replacing them with lock and nut so he can't move.
Oh
Oh,
no.
yeah.
But I didn't
Yes. So no moving until your woes are aided, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. But I need to move. I can't sit still. I'm a gremlin like that.
No,
Gotta
look,
move
there's
around.
always a fair compromise called taking it easy. Not abandoning the task of dancing, but simply doing it at a lighter capacity, right? I think that should be fair to Mystic.
That's right.
Also, welcome to Twitch, Ivan. Chat seems to be rather. You see, it's 7 a.m. here in the Philippines, so anybody on the +8, GMT +7, they're either asleep or they've just clearly woken up. How about you, Mecha? How long ago did you wake up?
Woke up roughly 3 hours ago, but I am just like an old car engine, a bit slow to start. And then once we're going, we're good. But currently, just trying to piece together a few things, trying to learn a few other like new avatars and things. See how they
New
get.
avatars.
Don't worry, Mystic. Don't worry, it's fine.
Okay.
But besides that, it's good fun. Just been bouncing around worlds, and I realized you were all on. So I thought I'd pass on by. I did.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, and it's nice to see you too. Shopao replies to Mecha. I'm feeling good, very happy because thesis has been defended. But hoping my professor takes my excuse letter for my attendance, but either way I'm happy. Thesis defense for Shopao.
Excellent.
Resident artist, college student extraordinaire.
You got this.
You got this. Mystic says, expect a visit from me, Mecha, with the wrench tool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
yikes. Yikes.
Crikey.
Nothing I can do for you, buddy.
You'll
Oh,
be
dear.
fine. You'll be fine. She'll just
You'll be okay.
undo
yes,
some
on
bullets.
Oh dear. On another subject. Have you been up to some detective work around here? 'Cause it looks like there's a full-on cityscape back there.
Oh yeah, well, listen. Last time, if you were there at stream, we were sitting our butts comfortable in a cafe over at I don't know was that Paris? Mm-hmm. Nice ambience and everything, very posh. But apparently, management has caught up on that stream. Maybe I shouldn't have gone live, and so we have been reassigned here to the butt end of I don't know. Is this Bangkok or something? Yeah. They said, "Oh, it's rainy season, perfect for both of you lovebird vacation goers to go to." Like, okay, so yes, here we are. Hi, Chan.
Gotcha.
Ni hao.
What?
Ni hao. I said hello in Chinese.
Oh.
M- Ivan asks,
Um,
Mecca, have you ever joined Gebos and Vesper on any missions? Good question.
Ooh. Well, certainly would be interested. Yes. Try and help save the day.
Always welcome to have a freelancer join us. Then again, weren't you with us when we were investigating this mega underground structure one time? I can't recall. The one with the stairs at an odd angle. Was it the
That
storm
was
drains?
really fascinating.
Yes.
I promptly fell down those staircases.
Oh, yeah.
There's probably a reason why I'm not taking it to some adventures and pass on by. With all the metallic noises, I probably make a lot of just okay. We gotta be quiet. We need to observe what's happening. Just a loud clank, clank, clank.
Blank.
Yeah,
Followed
maybe
by
we should
quiet.
consider like some silicone padding for like the bottom of your paws.
Yeah, just. I'm surprised you actually don't
Or-
have. No, don't you have them, Mecha? You don't make loud noises when you walk. On rugs.
Probably not, but if I do fall over, it will be loud.
Oh, yeah, and you would promptly damage the furniture with
Alright.
your spiky hand.
Yeah, maybe we need to wrap this guy in bubble wrap.
The
be
bubble wrap
fine.
isn't gonna do much. What's this?
It's not gonna do much.
No, I remember. We were with another person, Mecha. You see, Mystic was with us on that time too. Remember that funny train?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, precisely that funny train. Where we had to do little tasks or else bad things would happen.
Yes. It's quite
Yeah.
wild, that place. Yes.
How would you describe the experience, the phenomena that we run into?
I'd say, well, it was quite a abnormal experience. There was a lot of things that one wouldn't expect occurring there. And on top of that, it was very entertaining. Definitely without saying too much, in case any of your viewers want to visit and travel on that train as well. There's a lot you'll need to keep in mind. I'll say no more. How about yourselves? How would you describe it?
Yeah, Vesper, how would you describe it?
A lot of chaos, to say the least. How many times did I get caught again?
Chat, only ever ride a train if one, you have a ticket for it, and two, you know the destination it's heading for. Never ever ride a
Yeah.
train who's unsure where it leads to. Ooh. That's what I can
that
say.
was a lot of coordinations we had to tack in.
Oh, yes.
And it didn't help that I got my foot stuck one time.
Precisely. What's this? Next time they'll make you a D class.
Goodness gracious. I'll also make my travels and I'll start to head out. I'll leave you all to it. Keep
Of
being
course.
awesome.
Yes, thank you
Thanks
for
for having
dropping
me.
by. Of course, of course. Chat, let's say
Fine.
goodbye to Mecca. He has stuff to do. Maybe he can
Take
hang
care.
out with us later. Let's see. Take care, Mecca.
Wha- Cheers. Catch you.
Cheers.
Okay.
Bye bye. It's a little slippery there, Mecca.
Yeah.
Take the elevator. There we go. Bye. And so our wayward friend is gone.
Mhm.
It's cute though, him dropping by. Definitely. He
Yeah.
needs more followers. For the amount of work he puts in, he really needs more followers.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is true.
I'm gonna put the pins there. Whew. I have half a mind to go close TikTok and see if things will work better. But I don't know where this encoding overload is coming from. It was working last time with the same settings. What could it be? Oh. Nilus's missions. I can see it in my head. Geb doing the Sherlock Holmes in front of everyone. Vesper with the CIA vibe, pointing a gun at someone. Near firearms. Mechas making stuff explode in the
Firearms, too.
background with a not entirely unsurprised look. That's not demanding on my system. This place is actually much less compared to yesterday. I have to investigate the issue. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It manifests as like half-second hiccups at a consistent pace. I have read that it is a OBS bug. Funny, I was streaming with higher settings before and this hiccup did not exist. But alas, here it is, present. Also, Neon, I'm not sure if you're still here, but I wanted to thank you for helping me with the timestamps over at my VODs. VODs being my past streams. Tremendous help. I managed to make at least, I think, 2 clips on that one video. I will be posting it later. You know, there's something funny I read over at the Slime VR server. Slime VR being the full body tracking I'm using. Somebody was saying something along the lines of like, it's strange why some people buy full body tracking when all they do is sit on stream. My answer to that is you don't need full body tracking you don't use full body tracking exclusively for high impact activities like dancing and whatnot. I think what's important is using full body tracking, being able to convey the subtle body movements, the gestures, the mannerisms of the person, making things as organic as possible despite being subtle, like how I move my arm, adjust my position as such. Can't exactly do that without full body tracking, can I? Shopal says another answer, why not? It's your money, you do what it is up with you. Precisely. How much does full body tracking cost? Because I'm on the topic, I'm gonna answer your question. My setup cost me around $230, and that's with 10 trackers. Vespers was even cheaper. How much was yours? I forgot.
About 170 for a set of 5 with 3 extensions.
Oh yeah, there you have it.
And yeah, I'm planning on getting more, so 25 each.
Yes.
Then I'm
Check.
getting 3, so 75.
If there's one thing I can advise, chat, if you're gonna get slimes, get it from somebody who's reputable, who builds them properly, reinforces them. Luckily, the local seller I know, his name is Tiel, RDTL. You can DM him on Discord. He builds stuff to last. Thank goodness. And his warranty process is a painless thing. It's just 10 minutes to have it delivered from his place to mine. Very convenient. Do you have to use a face tracker just for the eyes? Face tracking is broken down into two things: eye tracking and lip tracking. Those things are separate. There are certain headsets that only have eye tracking, um, while some others they don't have anything at all. Normally, it's always just eye tracking before actual lip tracking in hardware. So yeah. Oh, I've noticed from this angle the city can't be seen, huh? There we go. Now it's more cinematic. Oh, I completely missed the question. Do you have a face tracker or just for the eyes? I am using both eye and lip tracking. So is Vesper. We have identical handsets.
Yeah, it's we're not just relying on Bismuth here, or at least I'm not.
Yes. Actually, a clear example
Although,
is
at least for me, yeah.
Vesper's using a combination of eye seams and actual facial expressions, not gestures, using the manual ones. I am using purely facial expressions, but that only works locally for stream because there's latency. If you have to use Viseams as well, I can show you how that looks like. So this is with Viseams. If you notice, my lips are now like it's more animated, but it's also delayed because that's simply using sound detection for estimated like how do I explain it? I'm probably saying all this wrong. Like lip tracking or shapes, blend shapes. There we go. That's the same with it.
Yeah.
It's strange. Hi there, Axiom.
I actually haven't tried it without the Bismuth before.
You can,
So-
but it's gonna be delayed in my point of view,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So keep it enabled.
Yes, of course.
Of course, actually. Do you want to drop by after stream or something?
Hi.
I bet this place looks very familiar.
I accidentally scared him.
Oh, I see. Addicted to GTA. Go play your games and no problem. Hi there, Paris. She's beautiful, says Diane. Ah, Diane, and how do I even read
Well,
your
thank you.
name? When your name is a statement, but yeah, Vesper says thank you. I completely agree with your statement. So a bunch of to-do lists. I need to see why my encoder is being overloaded now when that wasn't the case before. Do I need to reinstall OBS? Try Streamlabs. See, just like that. What a chill stream, for real, for real, for real. Whole point of what I do. I want to keep things relaxing, casual. Ever considered going to actual story writing business, Gebus? I may have a knack of making things up on the spot to protect things, but actual story writing? Oh gosh, I don't think I have the patience to do so. I'd rather hire excellent writers such as yourself, Nilo. And I will go read out your script. Thank you, Mills.
I haven't really done any story writing myself, honestly. Not in a long time. At least the stories I do come up with, well, they're never complete.
I see. Did I used to write before? Silly little stories when I was much, much younger. But nothing substantial, really. How's a man supposed to write a story when he himself doesn't have a story to say? Nilo's asking, what did you write, Vesper? Shop also misses writing.
A lot of it was just about, say, characters I'd create.
Oh,
So, more of like their backstories and all that. So, I had this wolf paladin,
whoop.
not following any sort of god or anything, but yeah.
Okay. Go on.
Let's see. Gab knows about this character. A man whose body mostly consists of cybernetics. Silas.
Oh my gosh.
Well, of course I have my own story to tell as well. Not none of their stories are actually complete. And neither is mine. I mean, there's a lot more to go on anyways, after all. Don't you think?
Sure. I think Vesper has just recently started a rather important chapter in her life. A better one.
Sure.
Diane says she's the best voice in my life. That's some high praise coming from a TikTok chatter. What do you know?
Yeah.
Oh, what's this? Vesper says most I write are for my D&D campaigns and running. I forget that Shopao here is not only an artist but a DM as well. What's this? I write sci-fi and fantasy, says Matthew. Matthew, you have a very eloquent vocabulary. That's something I've noticed in your comments and your messages. Diane, you know, I would probably advise not to. There's your answer.
Yeah, no, no. Sorry. I don't know you, so I'm not gonna friend you. Sorry.
Chat.
You might be sweet, but I can't trust that.
There you have it, chat. Stranger danger is a motto that Vesper and I live by. Not that we're arrogant or rude, but as any of you who has an online presence, you should always play it safe whenever you're letting people into your personal space, be it physical or digital.
Yeah, I've had plenty of bad experiences letting the wrong people into my space, digitally
Yeah,
at least.
same. Funny chat, I was telling this to Vesper. I have a sizable amount of people who's decided to lend me their support by following me. But even with all 30,000 plus of them, the amount of friends I keep close, I count in one hand. Call me a lone wolf or whatever you want. I'm just really picky about who I want to be around with. Not because my standards are high or not. In fact, my standards are very basic, very low. That being simple human decency, respect, most of all, proper manners. I cannot handle high energy people like I could before. I just like a flame, it just burns me out when I'm near them. Maybe I'm made of wax, I
At
don't know.
least Mecha isn't that way.
Manga's different. Instead of a scorching fire
Yes.
of ADHD, he radiates a golden light of wholesomeness and pure heartedness.
That is true.
Hi there, Natori. May I ask you a quick question? Go ahead, Slicer. What is your inquiry? You can judge me when you see me. Precisely. I have yet to meet Matthew, and so far he's been good in my book. Maybe a few demerits on certain things I won't mention what from, but what matters is he's still passing in grade. Casually does lyrical descriptions on stream, and he can't write. I don't even know what lyrical descriptions mean. When you say lyrical descriptions, I think it should be qualified like for songwriting, like lyrical.
Would they mean poetic?
Poetic. Wouldn't that be
They do tend to
Matthew?
be poetic with you.
Yeah, no,
Hmm.
no. Matthew's the one who's poetic. He's very flowery with his words. As in poems. Golden ADHD life. Sure. What's your question, Diane? Ah, I see. Go ahead. What did you want to ask? I just became a new user in VR chat, says Matthew. So close to meet the boss and the precious mod. What do you know, Vasper? It seems the time of our rendezvous will be happening sooner than we thought.
Yeah.
I wonder how we're gonna handle Matthew. Is he gonna be on this side of the ledge? Or is he gonna be on that side? It all depends on you, friend. Serving with class, obeying the much. You don't have to serve anything, Matthew. Diane, the answer is something you can glean by talking to a reflection of yourself. Look in the mirror and ask the question again, and then start using this.
It also helps that we both have drawn before, so we're decent with character design. Well, Gab's really good with it. I mean, look at him.
I'm the simplest one can be. Hi, Chan.
Yeah, meanwhile, in comparison to him, I'm a little more complex.
Notice how my beans are conveniently censored by the rubbish pile over there. No free beans for you, Chan. The
Bam, no
voices
free
in the
beans.
mirror. No free beans. Now it's censored by my thigh. Okay. What's this? Umiyak in ADHD kid. Siopaw, you're perfectly bearable. It's okay.
If you were too much, you and I probably wouldn't get along as well as we do. Pal, it's okay.
I can't win an argument against myself, says Matthew. Oh. What's this? There we go. A lot of you may be wondering, what sort of stream is this? Not much is going on. It's just rain. The black and blue one's companion is sitting by the ledge precariously, probably getting wet by the rain. And then it's just soft jazz playing in the
Oh, I've
background.
gotten far more soaked before. I'm good.
I didn't say anything. Anywho, as I was saying, chat, my stream is meant to be, damn, it's not exactly what you would call chill. The idea of most people when it comes to chill streams would be something like having lo-fi playing and then there's the soft glowy lights and everything. Mine are more like factual snippets into day-to-day life. The crumminess of the rain, the icky, slippery concrete floor that's unevenly painted. Just trying to pass time waiting for, I don't know, you clocking out from work or an acquaintance or somebody you know that you have to meet up with. Maybe you're simply bored, dealing with tedium, things like that. But I do all of these in a relaxing manner, without it having to be artificial. You're quite literally just hanging out with us. It's two people having normal conversations. Conversations with you, chat. Van Wolf said we should get inside. Don't get cold. We're fine.
We're good.
Hi there, Reagan.
Besides, I'll just drag him off later anyways.
Oh, yeah.
we're both gonna make sure we don't get sick, don't worry.
Hi there, Shaq. Nice to meet you, too. Matthew says, I just realized Vesper's on the edge of the rail while I'm on the edge of madness for her charm.
Matthew with the flattery.
Yes, 7 out of 10, Matthew. Hi there, Angel. I'm doing okay. My OBS isn't, though. There's the hiccups. I swear I'm gonna look into other programs later. Because I got the setup right the other day. Past 2 streams had no hiccups, but now... Hmm. The white noise behind your mind, the comforting ambient noise. Yes. Ain't it nice? If there's one thing I enjoy when it's raining and it's nighttime, is the air changes. Not only does the ambience of the city turn into something more whisper-like, it dampens the sound of the chaos, the traffic, the incessant noise that sheer urbanity emanates. You breathe in the air, it's thick, humid, a kiss of nature in the form of water. You exhale, it's equally just as cold. Rain, evening rain. I say this because I live in a tropical country where normally it's very hot during the day. So whenever it's raining, we actually welcome it as a moment of respite. Cools down the heat. Though, thing is, it rains a bit too much here, to the point that it actually starts flooding. Oh man, the amount of storms that passes by my country. How many was it? Like 20 per year? Correct me if I'm wrong, Filipino viewers. Happens all the time. Ooh, Vesper, you may want to answer Ivan. You know what? Hold on. I know you're just gonna bonk him with a hammer. It's a valid question. Gebus, have you had any partners before Vesper? You see, on the field, I was assigned somebody else. More of a... This person really, really wanted to shunt herself into helping me with whatever I'm doing. It was okay for a while, but... And let's just say... things weren't compatible in the end. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I guess finding a random Luna Beast in the desert also didn't help with that, huh?
Yeah. You see, she didn't exactly want to do the work that I was doing. She wasn't interested in the cases I was doing. In all honesty, all she wanted was the person, me, who was doing all the work. So she clung by the arm. She was fine. But the moment I had to approach other people, other things, other events that I had to tend to, she would come in between. Now, of course, that goes against the nature of my work. And so she promptly faded into the ether, never to be seen again. She had a pretty nice dress, too. But this is better. Clearly better.
I'd hope so.
I said it was pretty because it had a nice battleship gray color before. So yeah, bit of a stretch.
that was my arm and my back popping. Okay.
Congratulations. Hi there, Chaotic Dragon. Do you have a favorite football club? Unfortunately, I am not one to follow ball sports. Gebus lore. And shrimping is now in my vocabulary. Yes. Hmm. Sweet. Greetings, Gebus. How are the two Nova Bees doing today? Oh, we're doing okay. Spending some time here in the rooftop, soaking in the nice old rainy city air. So yeah. How does a zoom look? Oh, nice. So it looks proper. Sorry, I was curious with the zoom in. Okay. What's this? Matthew says, chilling on the rooftop, rain pours over body, suit, and hat. Drops corn on the floor, looks at the balcony, smiles and speaks up. If the future has a path, it surely brights up for these two. Keep up the good work, boss. The city needs you both. Turns around, leaving the scene under the sight of a promise. Under the sight of a promise. Wow, Matthew. The rain is always so calming for me. It sure is, isn't it? Geb, asked Axiom, if you had to pick any color aside from your saves, what would be the color? I always go with grays and reds, or blacks and reds, in all honesty. Whenever I have a character in game in which I could dye its armor, I would make sure there are elements of metal. Metal would be nice polished steel or silver. And then anything that resembles like a cape or a shawl or whatever that flows with the wind, it will always be red. Gebels, but you're the complete opposite. I know. I tried red. It doesn't look good. I look like a Doberman. Don't get cold, please. It's comfortably chilly. Probably something a Mexican would say. Ah, it's comfortably chilly. As he hands you like some tacos. Terrible joke, I know. Geb, has anyone ever told you that your pin looks like a Christmas tree? Why? I love Christmas. Time to chill in the stream, then lurk. I see. Come on, go to your art shops. By the way, the light is purposely dark. I could make it brighter, but let's see how that works. A teeny tiny smidge brighter. How about that? Better. or it doesn't light up the important bits. I could always just dial or go down. Let's go to the usual. Let's stick to the one I had earlier. What world is this? Something like rain or shine. Nothing fancy in this place, really. It's just a balcony. Matthew comes with an acronym for us. GEBUS. G is for gentleman, E for elegance, B for brave, B for bright, O for original, and U for unique. S for splendid. You keep on going with these acronyms. I want you to have one for Vesper. What would VESPER stand for? Vigilant, extraordinary, retro. What would the R stand for? Resilient. There we go. Absolutely resilient. There you have it. V is for Actually, don't. Oh.
Axiom.
Behave. Behave. I know you ate mushrooms, Sam. I'm good. Dan, give me a sec. Ugh, I fell asleep. Neon, listen to me. Please, get the proper amount of rest. You've already done so much for us. To the community, you've given priceless and countless amount of artworks. To myself, you've helped me with a lot of ideas. Heck, you're even helping me with my timestamps now. Past streams, making it easier for me to clip. You saved me a lot of hours. So take it easy, alright? If and when I do get blessed more financially, I will most definitely be sharing the spoils with you. I think Neon deserves it. His combs are so cheap. It's like $20 for a full body one. And it's colored too.
Yeah.
What's this? Vespers, says Shopao. Vibrant, elegant, serene, professional, endearing, respectful. Why did I have an R in the middle earlier? Maybe I'm the one that's
Very severe.
regressed. There we go, regressed. Japanese, okay. Sorry about that. Japanese, okay? Yeah, of course. I don't know why that just came out of me, chat. I'm so sorry. let me turn on the auto translate. Chat settings. There we go. Translation. There we go. Auto translation. Enabled. There we go. How do I do this? Hello, Sky Ineza. And who is this Japanese person? Can you speak Japanese? How do you say no in Japanese? No, yeah. Hi is yes. I don't know how to say no. Oh, I forgot. Oh my god, I had the basics. No nihongo desu. There we go. That's the best I can do. How can I make the avatar move realistically? One, if there's one thing I learned is see the Japanese dudes laughing. There's one thing I can give you an advice is to put some theatrics into your movement. I have a perfect example. Guys, there's another Nova Beast streamer. His name is Dervish. He is an excellent example of being animated to an exaggerated extreme. If you want to see, he has like squash and he has like easing and like the bounce, everything. I am like super tame compared to him because that's not what I do. I like sitting down, relaxing like the old man that I am.
You're not old.
I've been called grandpa by a lot of friends like Mystic over here because all I do apparently is sit on my butt on any given chance. The yellow Nova Beast. Yeah, Chopin. That one. What's this?
Yeah, no, if my grandpa's more than twice your age.
See, he's only twice my
no.
age. At least say he's thrice my age. See, I'm old, damn.
Yes, closer to thrice.
Oh
You're
my
not old.
god. You're good at Japanese. Oh no, don't let me say the other phrase in Japanese that I know. Ooh. I think Mystic knows what that is. Is she a dragon? Yes, she is. Have a good look at Vesper. As you can see, her butt is like sinking into the railing due to her special nature. There you have it. I can hear ya, Grandpa. You know what's funny? Me and Mystic are actually
Mystic.
super close in age. Your voice is really soothing. I could listen to it all night. Why, thanks, guacamole.
Hold on. Grandpa Vesper's how
Yeah.
old?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's like thrice your age. Never mind.
He's twice my. Thank you. You're my friend, like a sandwich. I like
Can't make a
sandwiches.
good acronym for Vesper since her name and her own self are greater than any dictionary or language known.
Listen to the flattery by Mr. Matthew Sunseeker here. My goodness. So close to tinting his nose brown. Hi there, Delphos. I think your translation is messing. It's probably TikTok's translation messing up. Kuya Lo. Nah, Mystic is Mama. She's 27 too. I don't know how old Mystic is presented to the public, but I think it's best you ask her, not me.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that an end of an era? We're not gonna have wagers anymore. Man. Yes. I hope you and Vesper like the hand holding art I made, by the way. Oh, I love it. Trust me.
It's really cute.
It's super cute, super wholesome. Hi there, Fluffy. And Japanese person number two. I'm sorry, I would read your name if I could understand kanji, but yeah. Dawson says, first time being able to catch stream. Glad I could finally make it. Well, welcome to the stream, Dawson. Pray tell, where have you seen me? Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Neon is turning 20 soon. Such a talented young man. What's this? Nilo has an acronym for Matthew. Mingling anomalous, threateningly turbulent, high energy woofer. Are you implying he's like a set of speakers? Are you able to speak Tagalog? Pwede naman, bakit?
I'm.
I think Vesper knows a
Exactly.
few lines. But we shall let her recite them next time. Stuck in a corner of her mind. Dawson says mainly Insta. Was really into the way you did all your camera angles. It seems super cool. Look, Dawson, I have to make interesting camera angles. Why? Because of VR chat's limitations. If I just make things as flat as they are, like for example, like this. Like I see most streamers like do this POV, and and that's it. They stand, they do this, very flat, no framing, no composition, no perspective, no focal point. As if I know what the heck I'm saying. Yeah, that. Disclaimer chat, I am not a professional cinematographer or any of the like. I'm just a dude who likes to see things that look nice. Vesper, say it slowly, says Neon. Ma-gan-da, which means beautiful, which is what you are. Yama.
Thank you.
Ma-gan-da.
No. Duh.
There you go. Congratulations.
Wasn't good morning. Magandang umaga.
Yes, it means beautiful morning.
And the one that I actually do remember is Mahal kita.
Which means I love you. See, she remembers the things I've been teaching her. Fantastic. Come on, and then the other one, gusto kitang kan. Ah, but that's for next time. So, anywho, ascends and dies. Joke lang, Chopaw.
Poor girl's gonna die.
Yep. Anywho, where were we? The Gebus 101 Tagalog Lessons Class 3 greeting. Holy guacamole says face tracking adds so much life into that Nova. Right? You see, that's what I'm trying to do. I try to keep my design very simple, yet effective when it comes to conveying body language. If only I could increase the fidelity of the Quest Pro's lip tracking. Unfortunately, this is already the best amount of software tweaking that I can do. Don't worry, I have something on the way that should improve it significantly. Geb taking chances. Thank you, Trixie. Oh, Chin Chin. High computer load detected. Really? Funny. It's only at 45%. What are you talking about? You have a nice day too, okay? Thank you. What did they say? Sumimase. Don't say that, Gab. Which one? It doesn't sound good in Japanese. I know. Guacamole says, your expressions. I got full body, but I don't want to pick up a Quest Pro Vibe Pro Eye for face tracking. We'll see what comes up with the next generation of headsets. My advice is waiting for the mythical Deckard to come, or one of Meta's new offshoot affiliations with other brands. I know Meta, they chose to become open source and they're collaborating with like LG and Asus. So you're gonna see a new generation of headsets that's gonna supersede the Quest Pro. I don't know when, I don't know how much. If there's any person you should ask, that's Axiom Atom, my friend. He's the one with the insider news. If he's even gonna divulge any to the public. The close up on the face is the best angle. I hope that doesn't sound too weird. Oh no. Trust me, I like using this angle too. Unfortunately, it doesn't work very well on TikTok because the frame, see the horizontal framing? It just barely contains my face. I'm not sure seeing a giant face in your mobile phone is exactly appealing. Though I know some people that are into that. See you around. Bye. Hi, T Billy. 180? I didn't know I was like. What the hell's my height? What's 6'1" in
What did you
centimeters?
say it was?
Was it 185?
6'1", 185. Yeah. Hold on, let me double check.
Yes. You have to remind me. Was thinking about grabbing a Quest Pro for a while. If this is how Geb is, how good it is, then I'm definitely gonna pull the trigger on it. Go for it. While you can still grab a Quest Pro, I suggest seizing the opportunity. Vesper here got their Quest Pro like less than a month ago. I got mine more than a year ago. Still working fantastic. I even use it for working out.
Yeah, you're about 186 centimeters actually.
I'm 185. I remember I'm 185. So I'm 1 centimeter short. That puts me at like 6.08. But I just round it up to 6'1". It's such a small difference anyway.
Yeah, so sorry.
Yeah.
My mistake.
It's alright. We're small. It seems like we're gonna have a guest that has not shown up before. Mystic is requesting an invite. That would be interesting.
Should we
Go
let her
for
in?
it. Of course, why not?
Alright.
I won't place my avatar to your height, boss. I'll be real. If anything, I would advise Matthew, make your avatar height your real height. It doesn't matter if you're taller or shorter than me. At least I know it's you.
Plus, it helps with the immersion.
That's true. I'm a wolfie. I am small. Ah. Geb calls me junior high school height, says Shopao. Look. Chat, did you know me and Kamiko Shopao are neighbors? She's like 5 minutes away from where I am. So she just dropped by my apartment one random day while I was playing VR chat. Said, "Hey, big bro, come downstairs. I'm there. Fetch me." Hi, Mystic. Oh, what do you know? Speaking of small, there you have it, chat. Mystical Aurora in the sharky flesh. I
What
like
it
your
do,
G's,
Cat?
Chibi flush though.
your shoes. I like it. Very fitting on the colors.
Just
Mhm.
a little squeeze. Right now. Chibi not love, but still. Hey.
Yeah.
You know those paws are just
I'm
gonna
not-
bounce right off my leg. Bounce right off me if you punch me, right?
If I was any bigger, you'd be blinded.
So yeah, make
I'm not
yourself
gonna pick her up.
comfortable. There's
Mm-mm.
a stool
There's
if
a
you feel
chair.
vertically challenged, or you can here be by the left. Anywho, chat.
Up to you.
Look, I was being considerate. That's all we have, okay? There's no fancy couch here. I'm sitting on my tail. Look, you get the chair.
He's sitting on his tail. I'm sitting on the railing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hardy,
Look
hard,
at the
hard,
luxury
hard.
spot.
I'm good. I'm proud.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Terrible. I'm good.
Jaden's asking me,
It's just messed up.
if you're a millionaire, what will you do? The first thing I would do is pay back double all of my friends who supported me when I was at my lowest financially. Especially treating them to good food. Number one. Second, well, of course, I'm gonna try and make the money grow. Hi there, yay. What's this? Mystic has a lot of horizontal real estate, says Nilo. Nilo, you are 100% dead.
Yep.
Yep.
Look at that little face.
Mm-mm. You're
Camera's not facing her, but there.
no, yeah. You're dead. I'm sorry, Nilo. Rest in peace.
Mystic just needs a hand punch.
Disrespecting you right now. Don't be coming at my height.
Mystic's the cutest thing in the stream right now. I blame Matthew. What did
Exactly.
Matthew say? Mystic's a small
Look at
bee.
Best Bee.
I'd still say it's the Chibi Nova right here. There's no gonna
Yes.
see
Say
me.
it's the dragon right here.
Bye bye, Japanese person. I'll call you Snowflake White Heart. There we go. Because that's the emojis you're using.
Mystic, bruh.
Pabo, Mama Mystic. Oh no. Good luck. To be fair though, I remember how utterly cute and adorable Mystic looks like whenever I go visit the El Alba Cafe. Oh, have you seen her with the white hair and yeah, that was it the twin tails if I remember correctly. Like she has the fine line between a floor boss and like the floor princess at the same time.
I love Prince. I
Just
give
stick
the princess. No,
Princesita.
no, chat. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. No, no,
Oh,
no, no,
trust me.
no.
Chat, go to Mystical Aurora's TikTok. You're gonna see what I mean. She also has a Twitter and X, though it's in kanji, so it might be a bit hard finding it. Any other social
Ah,
media
yeah, yeah,
plugs
yeah.
you'd want? There you have it, chat. Give her a like, give her a follow. She likes dancing a whole lot. She likes hanging out with her friends. I forget their name, but I see them often in her stream. Also,
I see
chat,
him right here. Can't say nothing.
did you know that
Oh, you poor thing.
little Nova over there is also one of my top players whenever it comes to wagers? Yes, it's Mystic. She just had to take a bit of a break due to increasing rent and a whole lot of financial crap, which squeezes the wallet dry. But yeah, she has supported me a whole darn lot. Maybe one day she'll come back and play games with us. I know she wants to see me in a certain outfit still, in front of the
Mm-hmm.
public.
Mm-hmm. Oh, come on. You look ravishing. You look ravishing, darling.
I don't know about that. Who's the little guy? The little guy. It's Mystic.
And that's not a little guy. That is a girl.
Yes, ever so lovely. So yeah, chat, you may be wondering, how come Geb has a lot of guests on stream when he's known not to collaborate? He evenly, openly says that he doesn't want to work with others. Chat, there's a difference between collaborating and having your friends over. I simply have my friends over. These two would be two of the fingers in this one hand, including the other, that I consider close as friends. Vespers. Yeah, you know what I mean. Matthew says, I gotta leave, boss. Work calls in the morning, so good morning, evening, night to everyone. Vesper, Geb, and Mystic, have a good rest of the stream. Keep up the smiles and good vibes for your crazy. What? I don't know how to read that. See ya. See you around, Matthew. You have a great
They
day.
meant to say company.
Company, your crazy company. Is that what Matthew said?
Sounds like a Lethal Company ripoff.
Hi there, Xiao Longbao. For chatters here who is, let me remember what she has written in the Discord. Into nude photography. There you go. What the impression. Nothing wrong with that, chat. It's still a valid subject matter.
And well, not all nudity is inherently, you know what.
It's called artistic nudity, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were brought into this world without any clothes, so I don't see how that's such a taboo when you try to insert it into the field of art. Twitch allowed it for one day. Oh, I was there. I saw how bad it was. Yup, and it immediately got, yeah. All the e-girls were having a field day with the thing. All the VTubers were playing funny on it too, with very clever sensors and whatnot. Goodness me. I will not forget that day. Shopo says it also helps learn anatomy. Did you know when I was in art school, my first year, I was in this place called UP Diliman. I was under classical arts, I think. One of my first classes would be like life drawing and gestures. The thing is, it being an old school state university, the digital art wasn't a thing back then. Drawing tablets, Photoshop, which completely alien back. All we had to use like linseed oil, acrylics, oil, everything that's traditional media. So in one of my classes, I actually did have like a nude model, and surprisingly, whenever the model arrived, it wasn't a big deal. It like nothing at all, because it was all just for the sake of art, drawing, reference. A lot of people make a big deal about nudity. Yes, chat, I'm talking about being naked. I think I remember being at an age where I was really conscious about it, but that's when I was younger and I wasn't well learned. But now that I'm older, I honestly don't see a big deal if you have a shirt on or not, as long as it's within the realms of public decency, if you know what I mean. Some people tend to overreact, maybe it's something they picked up in movies, in anime in particular. The girl's gonna go crazy over an accidental peep that was clearly her fault or an accident 100%, and go to the unfortunate demise of the male. Nilo says, as a German, I tense a bit every time I hear the word art school. I'm- oh my god. Oh. Oh. Wolfie, where are you? Why aren't you here? Oh my
we need
goodness. Have you seen the Nepali student? He was giving a speech. Uh, it's in the memes channel at my Discord. You see what I mean by inspiring. What's this? Holy says, America's the worst for that. We're taught that all nudity is lewd. Hell, you can even have a movie with hundreds of people dying and that's not PG-13. But one boob and it's rated R. Right? It's sort of strange.
Mhm.
Violence is like,
Yeah.
okay. Alcohol and whatnot, guns is fine. But like a boob? Like showing the Oreo cookies that's plastered to your chest, that peeps out a little bit. Mm-mm. Nope, you're banned. That's
Yeah,
it.
no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, frankly, as long as you're Publicly
Fat oatmeal
decent, you're
cookies there,
good,
so it's
you're
not so
good.
dark. Yeah, there. You know what I mean, Jack?
I know what you mean.
Okay. The slightest peak of that little thing. And that's it. Mm-hmm. Oh, welcome back home.
Why do you all have goggles?
Why?
Well,
Because
goggles.
we care about our eyes. I mean, it's raining. Why
Yeah.
not?
Little rain ain't gonna hurt though.
That's true. Goggles. I think it should be standard issue to all people, in all honesty, given how hazardous the environment is nowadays. Dust, particulates, vapors, and liquids. Heck, even the winter
Yeah.
size.
Hmm?
Oh yeah, one moment. Sorry, I'm just checking my Discord. Give me a moment, chat. No, co-pilot, not now. Okay, Nyla, let me give you a bit of clarification. Most Nova beasts, look at Mystic for example, though she's in her rather smaller form, are known for having their nice, proud, bushy mane. Okay, mine, I took it off, and there's still a bit left. Thank goodness it's actually growing back. Before, a couple of months
I
ago,
convinced him.
that was nothing. Yes, dude, I got convinced by Vesper over here to put a bit of texture on the back of my head.
People are calling you bald with close cropped fur, anyways.
Probably got tired of sitting behind me and getting constantly reminded of the bowling alley or an 8 ball. Probably trying to divine an answer from my head by shaking it. Oh, magical game, what should I do? Yeah.
All this new little shiny, got a whole mirror behind his head.
Mm-hmm. I don't have Oreo cookies now that I think about it. Random thought chat. Anywho. Wow, that is quite a name. Irish neurodivergent queen C. Ooh. Okay.
That's 5 times fast.
Talk about red flags, but hello. Sorry, you remind me of somebody else. Hello, Zai. Monies. Nyla says, I bet that saves you a walk to the barber. Funny enough, it actually does. Back then, I used to sport much, much longer. Like, mane. It didn't really work out well. For the work that I'm doing, I need to keep it nice, prim, and proper. Vesper gets to
Yeah,
enjoy
he
the
does.
liberty of long hair.
Well, then again, if I don't want to get snagged, I could just tie it up.
That's true.
So,
I
there's
just let mine's all out.
So, Mystic, you said you were working on a new form. Yeah, probably 2 weeks ago. How's that going?
Well, me and Blender get along so well. I say that with the utmost of sarcasm. But, yes.
It's okay. What are you having difficulty with, if I may ask?
Aside from like getting the tail on, because this one, like I say, it's the FBX, but you know how me and putting the FBX on things don't really go too well. So yeah, that's kind of like my little snag at the moment.
The face tracking, you patch the FBX first and then you edit it after. Like putting tails and such.
Yeah, but this is kind of like an edit, if you will, because I got an edit version of it. I'm trying not to spoil too much of it, so it's like I'm trying to put that onto there.
Ah, okay. All right. Good luck. I hope you get that done. Vesper's face tracking had the base Ad Jerry one, but I'm working on resculpting it to be as like mine. It's a tedious process. All 52 blend shapes. And I lost all my work, so we're gonna get that done. Don't worry, love.
that first time wasn't my fault. I promise.
Yeah.
And then next to that, I'm making a child, not for me.
At shallow.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's change the perspective a bit. Chat, look at this. Wouldn't it be perfect if a certain girl wearing headphones would be sitting while studying? Yep, it's that place, chat. And we're hanging outside. There you have it. Well, places to be. Yes, we're outside the lo-fi girls like apartment. See, creative place, isn't it? How do I do this? How do I make it fit? There we go. You can see Mystic and Vesper battling through the rain. Just barely, barely zoomed out. Perfect. Is that the Tanuki shark thing? Says Shadow, the skeptical hedgehog. Seems like one of your fans are here, Mystic.
Eh?
Do you perchance know this person?
I'm gonna need the name because I'm only looking at Twitch chat.
There you go. This shall be the Mystic Camp. It's a Shadow, the skeptical hedgehog. Also, hello, Papercraft.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yep.
There you have it. Mystical Aurora.
In Chibi Nova form. Not a word.
That voice sounds familiar. Shadow, as Mystic herself confirmed, she is indeed herself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It is I. What it do?
Now hold on a moment. Oh my goodness. What is this thing? Xiaopao Mei? I'm gonna comment on it later. Oh, it's super nice. It's so glowy on my headset. A kid says, "Oh, you're." Mm-mm.
That's not a kid.
Whew, let me explain something. Something it took me a while to digest. Apparently, the Chibi Nova Beast can at times be different from what a child Nova Beast is. Mystic, correct me if I'm wrong. You're a Chibi Nova, right? Are you
This is Shorty.
a short? There we go. Nova Beast in compressed form. There.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna sit right over here. Come
Yes, Mystic just using me as a hiding spot.
Yep.
At the moment, yes. Come here. No, sure, but come on.
Says, whoever said kid is dead, I know, right, Joe? I fear for them. The study girl helped me through my college assignments. Yes. It says, I got bored. Xiaopao, I'm gonna preface it. I super love it. It's wallpaper quality for like an OLED phone. Very nice, very nice. I love how you actually got me with like the 3 fingers and the 5. Oh, what is in the art whips? What? Why is Vesper taller than me?
Might be standing on a stool. Who knows?
Probably. Okay. All right. I'll let you have your artistic liberties. She looks taller most of the time. Why? Because I always sit on my butt. Yes, that's true. Gebos ever so rarely stands up.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, when I'm not on camera, I stand up all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, chat?
Again,
Look,
Listen, Gibbs'
take your
only
word for
excuse
it.
yesterday is that I wasn't feeling well.
yes. Oh, I'm so tired from sitting. Jeez. Anyhow,
That's why I don't sit, because if I sit, I'm counting sheep.
that's true. But it's so hard not to sit. Look, ever since I bought this super comfortable reclining chair, it's so difficult to stand up. Especially if I stand up, I'm gonna hit my head against like the loft bed of mine. It's such a chore to like actually stand up, get out of my chair, go into an area which I can walk around with. I have valid excuses.
I'll give you that, and at the same time, I can't relate.
Look, if this was just a chair and I can stand up like this and not hit my head on anything, I would be standing 10 times as much. But for me to go out, I have to stand up, I have to do this, and I have to like crawl through. Yes, that's a con of my space. Unfortunately, chat.
Like,
That's why me standing up is part of the redeems whenever I like lose a wager because it's a big thing.
I gotta love chat.
Geb on a wheelchair. In all honesty, I when I was young, whenever I see a wheelchair, I get this overwhelming urge to sit on it and just intrusive thoughts. Because it seems like super fun. But the nurse would look at me funny whenever I try to even attempt to
Yeah.
touch the hospital stuff. Like, mm-mm.
Yeah, no.
Mm.
Probably remembers that one middle school antic story of mine. I do not recommend wheelchairs all that much.
Okay.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. Well, why you were a wheelchair user for a while? Vespi, tell us how it went.
How I got there or how it was?
How it was.
Let's see. I'd end up going to class with dirt on my palms. Not that I was grabbing the wheel itself, but god damn it.
It's just like
There
rotate
was so
forward.
much dirt on the wheels.
Oh, okay. I thought you. Okay, I got you.
Or like, and then like say, I couldn't take the stairs, right? So I'd have to maneuver myself into elevators just to get down the just to get downstairs. Let's see, elevators, bathroom stalls, where my
Oh
house
my
were also
God.
another enemy of mine.
How did you fit? Oh no, they have the PWD bathroom stalls, right? With the little grab bar on the side. So you had
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
yeah. Well, mostly because the stall is like, oh, okay, you can only fit so much of the wheelchair in it, and then you gotta hop out so you can close the door and all that.
That's true.
Not to mention, like, if they didn't have elevators, you'd have to take ramps.
Oh, I remember
And
that.
sure,
Yeah,
it's
the
supposed to
ramps.
be it's supposed to be accessible, sure, but some of them are so steep you gotta like,
What?
oh,
Why am I
excuse me, sir.
accelerating?
Sorry to bother you. Or just like, oh shit, I'm falling. I'm
Yeah.
going back. No.
Precisely.
Like, or like, oh, sorry to bother you, sir, but could you please help push me up the ramp because this is very steep.
How long were you using a wheelchair?
Well, that incident happened in February, and I was free early March. So,
Okay.
well,
Oh,
no, early May.
Mecca
So I
wants to
was
drop by.
using it for 2
What's
months.
it go?
Mhm.
Hello,
was 2
guys.
months of that.
2 months. 60 days of suffering. What was it like being able to walk again? I don't know why that's funny. I'm
It's
sorry.
just, oh, thank God I can walk again. My injuries are healed.
Okay,
I was
okay.
so sick of using it. Oh my gosh.
So,
Not to
was
mention
it
the fact that, like, yeah.
a gradual
Mhm.
thing? You were using the wheelchair, and then you had crutches after?
Yes.
Ah, I thought it was
And
like,
then with some physical therapy, I was able to like walk with the with the brace, and then eventually, yeah, you don't need the brace anymore. You're good.
I see. Congratulations on healing back to like walking for Vesper. Oh, what do you know? We're visited by the Australian friend of ours.
Once again.
Hi. It's the Lo-Fi Mecca.
Oh, you're still out there. Oh.
Yep.
Mhm.
We're very much still out here.
At
It
least
is
Miss
just
Mystic here is nice and warm with her hoodie.
Yep.
Ah,
Hi there.
get your butt over here.
So, chat, looks like we're joined by Mecca yet again. Come on.
Very stylish today.
Okay.
Oh, cry.
Let us watch the beating ensue. Disclaimer, Mecca is injured.
I told you. If
You
you
told
did
me to
something,
pace
then
myself. Yes, and
Have
I
you?
said I would. I have been pacing myself. There's currently a dance class happening now, and I'm not going to it at the moment. So I'm
Wh-
not there. That is good.
I'm still robbing you of your joints.
Mhm.
I'm still robbing. No, I'm still robbing you of your joints.
No, no.
Yes. How many times I gotta tell you to sit your butt down? It's not hard, Becca. It's not hard. Every time I turn around, you're in dance class.
know.
You're doing this. You're doing that. You're not supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be resting.
Yes, I heard, but I need to do a little bit. Also, I did want to say, look, you kind of left paw prints in the water, and it made me pee. Sorry, I got distracted.
Paw prints is the least of your
That's not
concern.
my case. Don't you change the subject on me, boy.
Oh, the one thing you should be concerned with is paw prints left in your metal.
Wait.
That's a drop kick you understand right now.
No, careful! It's very dangerous up here. I mean, there's even all this safety gear.
Don't
around.
add injury to
Careful.
injury, Mystic.
Is that for, like,
There you
limbo?
have it, chat. Easier and dies.
How could you limbo
Butt
like
over here. You too close to the edge for your own good. Get your butt over here.
that? Okay.
You already bust your butt enough. As a matter of fact, sit. Nah, sit. Sit.
Okay,
Sit
okay,
your
here,
butt
I'll
down.
sit over here with everybody. Come on, let's go with everybody over here. I'll sit over here. Okay. Alright.
I like how any spot turns into a cozy spot as long as you're with the right company, chat.
Hey.
Don't move in. You do anything. Anything. I will beat the daylights out of you. I don't care who's watching
Okay.
you. You hear me?
Okay. Okay. I got you.
Poor
I
Mecca.
got you. Okay. I heard.
Okay, but hey, guess what? Guess what?
What?
Hug. There you go.
Oh my god, the most wholesome thing just happened on stream, chat.
Easily bought forgiveness.
Well, thank you for keeping an eye out for me.
Oh,
Ah.
But yeah. Hi. What have I missed? What's been going on to you?
not much. Hold on, it's a bit dark. Let me turn it back on. There we go.
If I switch to Big Nova, everything lights up. I'm trying to figure out why is that the thing?
I told you it's a culling mask in the lighting. Just set it to. I'll tell you later on Discord.
Okay, yeah.
And so we have 30 viewers on Twitch. Hi there, Twitch. Glad you could join us.
Hello.
As you can see, we have Vesper, ever-present companion. We have Mystical Aurora. We have Mechatronic Dragon. Both of these also have social media platforms in which they stream on. Mystical Aurora is Mystical Aurora. Mechatronic Dragon's Mechatronic Dragon. They're both on Twitch. But Mystic is also on TikTok. So yes. Where is Gebus? I've never gotten anywhere. I'm still here. I just changed the angle. The gray one's tail is probably
Kept it
longer than he is tall. That's true.
Oh yeah, it does take up a bit of real estate.
A bit of.
The real estate.
It's an anaconda, Mecha.
It's a bit of a tripping hazard on the dance floor. You know, I've been warned about a few others on the dance floor
yeah,
when you do
yeah.
the spin.
Take like a 5-meter radius around Mecca.
For your own safety, chat. So yes. So yeah, chat. Counting maybe one or two more people. Who you're seeing here are the people I consider the closest. As I've said, I keep very, very few company, but of the highest quality. They're all special in their own way. Not the kind of special where they hit themselves on the head while they were young, but the positive kind of special.
Yeah, none of us would drop down our heads as a kid.
Mm. So yes. So chat, if you're gonna threaten me in a situation and I say, oh, I have nothing to lose, like these are the guys that you just have to, like, you know, yeah. What's this? Welcome back, Mega, says Ivan. They're taking over stream. Nah, they're keeping me company, chat.
Yeah, we just chilling. At the same, keeping an eye on y'all. Don't be doing anything stupid, yet.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Mystic is also one of my mods? She has the power should she choose to. She has a clean record of having at least one fatality per cleaning per stream on Twitch. But let me tell you, she's way more tolerant of chat than I ever can be, or Vesper. Mecha, have you ever run into gremlins in your chat in which you yourself were unable to stand?
Just considering I'm a robot technically, just other robots that are like, hi, would you like to hyperlink blocked? And it's like,
Oh,
thank you.
that. Okay. But actually, like trolls and whatnot, no?
No, just the good old, yes, hi, I'd like, and then it's like, you know, would you like to do this or that? And thankfully the auto mods for the bot things that are actual robot things and scary are actually, yeah, that's nice. I mean, I just do little squiggles anyways. You'll do like, say hi to lots of people. Oh my gosh.
Look, you're the one who's actually working on something on stream. All I do is sit around and yap.
No, you don't. You make sure everybody's vibing, check in on people and stuff like that. There's lots of things to be done.
When you realize you're watching a streamer who actually does nothing but lays around and chat with you. Welcome to my stream.
Could be
chat.
worse. You could be one of them e-boys.
Oh! Okay, Mystic, you have first-hand contact with e-boys. How exactly do they act again? I run into them in TikTok every now and then.
Exactly how you see it. They had no shame in their game. long story short, they think they got game, they ain't got game. Trust me.
Oh yeah, like for example, how
Think
I
they're
know.
being deep, they're not.
Yeah, they're not. I all see them with like topless avatars, like impeccably sculpted bodies and piercings and like makeup faces, and like oh yeah, gay. Oh, they're like that.
90% of them are. I ran into like one or two that are actually pretty chill, but like majority of them, they do kind of be a little too arrogant for their own good. But you do have some diamonds in the rough, though.
Oh yeah. Is there actual good e-boys that you run into who stream on TikTok?
Mhm.
How would they be?
This is one fella named Rio. He actually does dances and stuff.
Real.
I was like, I like how he dances. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
You mentioned dancing.
Uh-oh.
Sit. You lucky this is not Inuyasha, because I would have put them beads around your nigga every time you trying to move. I would have tell you to sit.
Goodness gracious. Crikey.
Yes, sit. Stay sit. Like, if I had to do this, I will. Sit. No moving.
Big hug. Squish.
You're not skipping. So sit. Stay right here. Right here.
Okay. Okay, I'll stay here.
Oh, yeah, it's this one.
Squeak. Hi.
Hey.
You're
Serious
smiling.
look?
How? Nothing. I was reading chat.
Oh,
Right,
is Chad doing
Chad?
good?
They're doing great. Don't worry about it. Go on.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hello.
Ignore the shutter sounds.
Really? That's like the third one I heard so far since being up
Oh,
there.
shit. Reading chat.
Goodness gracious.
So many important things to discuss.
See, I gotta keep him in check.
Wait, does that mean? Ah, hang on. If I do that, then we can both dance. Let's go. No, you probably still.
I went down somewhere.
Goodness. Crikey.
What I'm gonna do? What I'm gonna do with you, Mecca? What I'm gonna do with you? Hmm?
Just a big hug. I'll stay put.
Oh,
I'm gonna
Yes,
get
bro.
right now.
ran into technical
I'll hug you
problems,
right
it
now.
seems.
You still trying to dance?
Oh my goodness. Hi.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just sending a DM. I'm good, though. No worry.
Okie doke.
So, right now we're gonna focus on There we go.
Oh wait, what?
What?
Oh, nothing. We just
You
moved
moved
the
the camera there. I thought it was up there.
Yeah, the pins,
That's your entertaining
Mecca,
chat.
pins. See, there's a camera
Oh,
here,
oh,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
there's a
take-
camera there.
The technology. How?
Yes. Now,
Oh, you poor thing.
Wait, what? Huh? Wait.
you see, Mystic, Mecca has yet to actually come into terms that he actually has a bunch of fans, admirers, people who like him in my own community. Yes, Mecca. As I've said, there are people looking for you. Hey, where did the Mechatronic one go? I said, it's probably dancing.
Aw, look at you. You
Yeah.
got dance. Look at you.
They actually look forward to seeing you, Mecca.
You're breathtaking. You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
See.
And it's a pleasure
You
to
are
see
too.
you.
See, chat says the same thing. You're breathtaking. They need a little Mechatronic. We gotta have a bouncy wibbly wobbly friend up in here. Ain't that right, chat?
Yes.
Oh
Look,
my goodness gracious.
a chatter named Hunter or Huntre, sorry, there's an E, says, we all love Mecha. Papercraft from TikTok also says, we love you, Mecha, in all caps. See?
Oh, that's very kind of you. Keep being awesome out there and keep hanging out with all these awesome people here because they too are breathtaking.
Isn't it lovely, chat? Mecha is
this
also
one?
flustered by the
This one.
attention. So give him
This
more,
one.
everyone.
It's you. You.
Oh, sorry, wrong. Oh,
No, I only seem mildly interesting because of how cool these two are in this room. It's just
Unacceptable. I will not have you downplay yourself. No. Ain't no mildly interesting. You are interesting. Don't you be downplaying yourself. Unacceptable. Do you hear me?
Look, I hear you. Okay, okay, but I appreciate that. Then I'm just being me.
precisely.
I'm
You
a
are
goofy
as
goober from what I
genuine
understand.
as genuine can be, Mecha. You don't put up any fronts, any images. You're just yourself. You wear your heart on your sleeve. And that's what scares in nowadays society. You're golden, Mecha. Keep being radiant.
Oh, you guys are saying very nice things. Crikey. Crikey. No, camera back again. Camera back again.
Ah, cute. That's so cute. Ah, you're adorable.
If I had an Uno reverse card, then I'd be using it right now, Mystic. There you go.
Joke's on you. I have Uno reverse card, so back to you. Cute.
Oh. You beat me at my own game. Dang.
Sorry, what was that? You gotta do it again, Mystic. The camera kind of missed it.
Okay.
Huh?
What was
But
the
I didn't
Uno
We're talking
reverse
about Uno
card?
reverse cards for giggles.
Oh, with the Uno reverse, I just did like, haha, joke's on you. Because he tried to hit me with the Uno reverse. Not today, sir. As you know you that cutie, you get the cutie patootie. Accept it. Accept it.
You win this round for now, but one day.
Al contrario, mi hermano. I win the war. Because ain't no way you gonna stop me on that one.
Gib, can we like order a bunch of Uno reverse cards, please?
Always.
Oh
Had
my
the
God.
ultimate one. Like, you can't stop the one. Plus, on top of that,
Oh.
simply tell you to sit for your well-being.
All right, crikey. Goodness gracious. All right.
See, chat? Look at this cutie bean. Look at him. I'm doing the jazz hands work woman. But look at this cutie bean.
No.
Is it working?
No,
Yes.
no.
Yes,
This one.
this one.
I got a better idea. Hey, Mystic, let's
What?
both point at the other person in the room.
Other person.
Yes, you.
Ah, that's you.
Hi, Ves. Me.
Whoa, welcome back.
Welcome back,
Vespi.
Vespi. Just in time, because they
How
were
you
starting to
doing?
post
Hello.
fingers in my direction. Gibbous is like other person. I'm barely even a person. I'm a nobody.
Did you just...
I'll just,
Just
just joking.
Nah, nah.
I was reading chat. Go to Twitch, see what Nairo time.
I kind of missed what that was said. I guess that was
I
supposed to be
swear
the
on
first
my
Mystic's
ears.
reaction.
See? I was reading chat.
Is Mystic gonna off with your
Yeah,
ears?
but- Yeah, but it's like other person. I'm like barely even a person.
See?
You said that because they
I
got that
did-
quotation mark.
I read it because. Oh my god. Oh, so Nilo got this revenge on me. Okay, we're quits now. Because of the whole
You ain't
horizontal.
said, what I tell you about that? What did I tell you about
Yes,
that?
high five.
What I tell you?
Oh, look, what I meant was I like keeping a low profile and things. That's all. As it should be. I shouldn't be standing out.
Not invincible to a ban, though.
Unacceptable with that talk, sir.
Okay. Ivan says, can we just agree you're all cute? That's true. Look at the fantastic
Yourself
company
included.
I have. I shall take whatever's left on the plate.
Boy, ooh.
Wow. Crikey.
What, you think you're worth scraps?
Women and children first, you know? And then whatever's left for dad and uncle.
Oi!
No.
What?
Like, how would you feed the family? Where this
A
one
bomb.
obviously gets the biggest slice.
Best give me a purple ball.
Mm.
Yo. Come on, high
It's your
five,
man's
Best. Come
before
on.
I hang him by the tail. I would like take his tail and I would hang him over the banister. The choice of words. What the heck, man?
You guys are so silly, says Champagne. Your friends are so cute as a fox, as Roller says, in all caps. Mm-hmm. Hi there, Henrique. Sinister guy.
Mystic looked like she's about to throw hands with a certain metal
Well,
Nova beast.
Maybe.
You on your feet anyway.
Because I was trying to give Vespa a high five, but that was.
Oh, sorry. All right,
Okay, go,
it's
there.
your high
There we
five, pal. And sit back down,
There we go.
please.
No, I know you're watching.
Like I said, you look at, I don't have that necklace off in Yasha, because I would have put it on your heartbeat like this. So every time you're trying to go run amok, all I gotta do is say, sit.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Hmm.
I was gonna say the coin flip. Why don't you ask Chad if they wanted to? Because I remember you asked Chad a few times about the coin flip.
Yes, normally I ask chat if they choose heads or paws when I do our little coin flip game, but most of our patrons are gone for reasons. One is gone until the end of the month, which is Wolfie, due to PayPal being a big butt. Lucifer is busy doing Navy stuff. And the rest, one is present here right now, but she's having fun. And I don't know where the rest went. I think that's it. I need to have more players. I don't know. I think about it.
Good.
Because at this point, the wages you're doing right now is more like silly wages. Like, it's a pause to do something silly. Oh yeah,
Heads.
that's one thing we still didn't do either.
What?
Ooh, nope, nothing, nope, nope, nope,
What?
nope.
Happy face.
Mm.
Oh, the Christmas day. I remember now.
It's more so I made a wager on him, and it's like if it was like heads or tails.
Oh,
you
and
do
I
it
gotta
for your
ask
voice
him,
before I do that one.
The cute line. Oh my god. I remember. So, chat, apparently Mystic owes us a super. Actually, a read me in the cutest way possible redeem because she lost the wager sometime in one of my previous streams. So, how about we have chat give me suggestions on what to tell Mystic to say to chat? Come on, give me a nice wholesome line. I'll give you guys 3 minutes to think. I'll see you, Memo. Good night.
You got this.
Lord. I don't got this. I don't know what they're gonna have to say. Oh my god.
Remember, what would you ask of a personal maid attending to your table if you're in a maid cafe? While they're drawing nice, loving little letters and hearts over at your omo rice, your omelette, you know. What would be the magical chant?
could have said.
Come on, Shopao. Oh, let's give me a line. Nilo, think too. Because we're gonna have
Oh no.
the yellow one over there. Read it. Yeah.
Oi.
Mystical love for you in Japanese. It has to be longer. Shopao, just like assignments, there is a word requirement. Has to be 3 times longer.
Please. Put the limit.
Whoa.
Put the long limit.
Come on, come on.
Goodness gracious. You got this. You can do this.
Yes.
This
Remember,
is beauty. Oh my
Mhm.
god.
Come on, Xiaopao. Yung ano, like saying something like, this omelette is only as tasty as me because it's me serving it. You're cute to me. Something like that, you know? Come on.
Gib saying it already.
Yes. If
Fucking boop.
if chat doesn't give me an answer in 2 minutes, Mecha will also say a line where he will mirror what Mystic's gonna
Oh, wait a
say.
minute.
There you have it.
Wait a
2
second.
minutes, chat.
Wait a second.
It's foul.
Oh, I
What
can buy
is the
some
question
time.
again? Okay, chat. I'm gonna say it again. What would you want Mystic and Mecha to say if they're serving you a delicious meal while writing a heart on an omelette? One is a butler and one is a maid, and you are the master. What would you have them say?
How did we wind up in this situation? What happened?
I have no idea.
Come on, chat.
As a waiter, but how did you get into it?
You're right. Give me suggestions quick. You're
don't
the
know.
you make web comics. You're great at dialogue. What would you have head maid Mystic and head butler over here say to appease the master that they're serving at this very moment? With the omelette rice thing. Yura goes like,
Mystic's up, you're dying.
Okay. Mystic has a line already,
IQ.
which is what Chopao says and Yura agrees with the heart hands too and the little spinny thing. Now for Mecha, Yura, you're the one who's good with like BL stuff, so you have to tell me what would befit our Australian wholesome friend here.
Hi.
What?
I don't know how I got here, but I'm here now.
Bro, I just got here. Wait. We're gonna wait on Yura. Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, now it's to say, good. Oh, my controllers are suddenly running out of power. Oh, what a concept.
Sit down.
No. If Mystic's
Sit
gonna
down.
go through it, then I'll stick with it.
There you have it. Mystic already has something in queue. It's just for Mecha.
Oh, okay.
God.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
It's a buddy
At least
system,
you gotta
chat.
get up, so that's a good thing.
Yes.
Don't drag me, but I will cry.
We're waiting on chat. I can
see you
hear the
smiling
words.
So much, Gib. I can see you smiling so much.
Devious, devious grin.
Come on, chat. We're waiting.
Bruh.
Kind of need to hear what you want them to say.
Mm-hmm. Remember,
Gideon.
Mecha's good at using his body. We're dancing. So you can
I like
use
dancing.
that.
Dancing is fun.
See, look at that sweet, innocent babe.
What?
Nothing. Chat is thinking.
That is good fun. But yes, of course, not overdoing it. You know. But yeah, what? Huh?
I have an idea for Mecca. Okay, shop out lay it on me while you're searching.
Oh goodness gracious!
Look, we just got
Go
held
on.
hostage out of nowhere. Ah!
I was like, hi, bye.
Shopao is taking the reins in the line for Mecca. Come on.
Whoa.
Ooh,
How do I copy this?
oh.
Okay. There we have it. Alright. So we're gonna pin this.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Oh boy.
Okay. So let's get the camera set up. Right? So obviously we're gonna have like Mecha like stand up and act it out. And the master is obviously gonna be Vesper over here.
Okay.
Yes.
You got this, Becca.
Come on. Wait. It's gotta be
No.
you gotta be ladies first. Mystic is the professional in doing this, so she has to show Mecha how it's done.
No, in any way, shape, or form. Don't you put me on the spot like that.
Right? You got this. There you go. Come on, Mystic. I know you can read Shopa's message. I even pinned it.
Bless you. Bless you.
Yes.
Let's see. This is a horrible angle in between the legs of Visceral Thought. Wait. There we go.
Ay. Okay. These eyes. Okay, let me see. Okay.
Mecha, you gotta do the caramel dance and dance while saying the line after. There you go.
Wait, what?
What the
Like
What the
that.
heck? Oh my god.
Oh my good grief.
All right. Lights,
Hi.
camera, action.
Hi. Okay. A coffee. As sweet as my love for you, my master. My.
There you have it, chat.
The camera. Oh my god.
There we zoomed in. We zoomed in with Mystic,
Well done, you did it.
who has face
Well
tracking.
done. High five. Good work.
High five.
Thank you.
There you go.
Wasn't that fantastic, chat? That was super cute.
Devious blueberry.
Ooh. Damn, you give a Mystic.
Oh, no, that's my turn. All right. Oh.
All right.
Your turn,
All
You
right.
get the giggle. All right.
Come on.
What am I doing? Let me hop up. Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay.
What are we up to? Oh, hang on. Let me put it up there. Okay. All right. So.
If you wanna improv,
All right then.
it can be your most
Let's-
danciest flair while delivering the line.
Okay.
You're meant to impress the master.
Okay.
Okay, when I'm saying this.
Okay. So as if we're on stage, we're about to do like
We're
a
on stage.
performance,
Yes, and there's somebody
Gotta get
sitting.
in the mindset. Gotta think
Mhm.
we're butlers and stuff like that. So we gotta have all we're carrying a plate of food. What else? We'd be trying to walk in a graceful manner without tripping over and falling over, like I usually do.
Mhm. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So, all right. When you're ready, I guess. Crikey.
Do you know the line?
Uh,
Line? It was written by Chopin.
I think I see it out there. So
Yes, okay.
there we go. So hang on, let me position myself over here as if I'm walking with a plate. There we go. Oh crikey, that won't do, Master. You need to have a more filling meal. Aside from the meal tonight, a hearty omelette and perhaps a dance for my favorite master.
Oh my goodness, there you have it.
God. Should get applause on that one.
I was trying to give
straight face. Sorry, man.
Mecha was a natural at it. Oh my gosh, there you have it.
Pasta that way.
Crikey.
100% natural.
There you go. Wait, I was meant to do a caramel dance, but that type of thing or something. There you go.
Yeah, but
Something like that, I think. Oh my god. Okay. Hi, twin.
the voice change says Shopao. Oh, 100 out of 100 for all of them. Come on, Chad. Give him a round. They did a fantastic job. Again, gentle reminder, both of them are streamers, so whenever you watch your stream, remember this moment. Okay? Ingrain it into your hearts and
Oh my
minds.
god.
So Mystic actually does that all the time in her streams. And Mechas, this is something he will probably be doing by special request. Yes.
Wait, what?
Yep, it's gonna be an expensive redeem.
We got the butler here. Mecca the butler. Like from Black
I'd
Butler.
probably trip over well before the food even got close to where it was meant to go.
That's where I come in clutch. If you may drop the food, I come right behind you. Like, safe. Now let's go.
Ah, teamwork! Yes, that's the spirit.
Teamwork.
That might just work.
Does teamwork make the dream work?
Yeah. Goodness gracious, but yes. Well, we did that, huh?
You sure did. You two go so well together with the whole maid and butler thing. I can see a special something going on with the outfits and the special presentation.
No, don't.
You being devious again. Chad, are you the man? Are you the man?
I'm just happy to my dance again.
And he's singing too. That's even worse. Oh my god. What did we do? We just said a lie.
What happened?
We just said a lie.
Thank goodness this is all caught on tape, chat. So we're gonna formulate something. We're gonna have a little surprise coming from Mystic and Mecha, the surprising natural at it. Maybe sometime.
What happened?
Don't worry about it.
I don't like
You're gonna make a lot of people happy.
Okay.
Perfect, and it has to be on a stage too. I know just the world with the spotlights and there's like a podium.
Wait, what? Wait, did we just get hired for something?
I think we did.
Uh-oh.
Don't worry about it for now. It'll take some time, chat. Let's make it happen. Yeah.
Hey man, we see like that. It's better than you.
Lyra's like, Mecha's like, uh-oh, did we just awaken something? Angel says, I suck at acting, but I'm going to learn next year in 11th grade. Well, as you can see, these two are fantastic at it. Right, Vesp? Super duper.
Oh my Gideon. Oh my god, we got
Wow.
one. Something we didn't
You
even know.
okay? I said these two are fantastic
Well, I
at
like it.
acting. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yes, they are.
Hiccups.
They are.
Buy Papercraft. Don't worry, tickets. I'll let them out soon. What's this?
Also, I think I should probably go get some foods and stuff.
How about you go grab some breakfast and then you can just come back if you want to. Like, my stream should be ending in soon, actually. Then we can just hang out.
Okay. Oh, okay. But it's still fun to catch everybody.
Of course.
Want a high five? We did it. We survived.
Hey, for now.
Chat, wasn't that a
Yeah.
fun stream? Yeah.
Oh
How about
my
we go
God.
cap the stream with
God.
Mecha leaving, you know? It's been 2 hours and 34 minutes. Mecha, want to start by saying goodbye to everybody.
Oh yeah, take care everybody out there. Hope you're doing good, whether it's day or evening. Have an excellent time out there, and catch you all soon. Bye bye.
Bye, Mecca. How about you, Mister? Come on. Everybody gets a
Ay,
chance.
ay. Okay, okay. Alright, y'all. I'll catch y'all later.
let's
Good
put-
morning, good afternoon, good evening. And I'll catch y'all around. Matane.
Okay, bye from everybody. And, well, from Vesper and I, as usual. Come on, Ves. Say goodbye.
All right. Bye, Chad. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and make sure to get plenty.
So, yeah, we had quite the eventful stream today, didn't we? Lots of friends, good company. I think that's the most I've had in like one stream, in all honesty. But yes, we will be hoping to see more of Mystic and Mecha during the succeeding streams. Now you've met some of my closest friends. That's nice, isn't it? Sometimes they say that in order to get to know a person, you get to know his friends first. With that being said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, chat. I'll see you again day after tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to today's stream, and I hope you all do well and have a fantastic day. Bye. Yep. No post-credit scenes here. Day after tomorrow.